Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all another one of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection pickup videos. I actually got this collection off of a friend of mine. He actually had a good number of decks built up that he just had never touched, never, used for Yu-Gi-Oh! So I asked him if he wanted to move a good amount of them. I always like picking up collections. It helps to freshen my own collection. I get to, see some new cards, new potential deck profiles. And I was able to get between 18 to 20 new decks with this collection that I picked up. Got the whole collection for about $300 total US. So very, very happy with the decks. I still haven't even fully looked through them all, but I figured I'd share with you all today the cards and decks that I picked up. Some of them are basically almost full decks. The other ones are cores. I would say there's probably maybe 13 to 14 of them being full decks, while the rest of them are just cores, but still the cores have a good majority of the cards for the deck. So if I were just to add some staples, they would be complete. But let's go ahead and get started. Now, starting off with the first deck for the collection, it is Fabled, which I think is really cool because we are getting the Fiend Smith support with the next booster set, Infinite Forbidden. The one sad thing, there was no Fabled Luries in the deck, but still having what's basically almost a full Fabled deck with a good majority of the extra deck, aside from some generic synchros, was definitely a nice pickup. Fableds were always a fun hidden arsenal deck, especially with all of their discard power, and a good majority of these cards can still probably be mixed with the Fiend Smith deck if you were to make a Fabled Fiend Smith version of the deck. Our next one is a Chronomaly deck. It actually came with 2 Machu mechs, and then this is an original Return of the Duelist Unlimited number 6, well, a Chaos version as well, some Vimanas also. Chateaus, even a Crystal Chrononaut, which this was actually the one card I was missing if I were to update my own Chronomaly deck for an updated profile. So definitely going to consider it now. It's even got the Secret Nebra discs, original globes, Tuspa rockets from Ignition Assault, a good majority of playsets for all the different Chronomaly monsters. If I were to update the deck, it's even got some Astral Karibos in here, along with a Secret Monster Reborn, which is really nice. Ultra rare Foolish Burial, Argent Force, some other additional traps, Lost Winds. For sure, the Chronomaly Machu mechs were definitely a nice find there also. Up next, we have Agents. I was looking through the Agent deck. It's got a good number of the extra deck monsters, as well as an Mega Tin 2020 Apollosa. I only have the alt art, so this would definitely be a nice touch if I were to change the Apollosa I use, along with a Zelantis from Darkwing Blast. It's got the Ghost from the Past 2 versions of the Agent cards, but still some higher rarity cards there for sure. What I also liked was the Lightning Overdrive, the 2 copies of the Lightning Overdrive, Diviner of Heralds, the 1 Mega Tin 22 as well, but still it's got a good majority of cards, including some small worlds for the Agent deck. Secret Rare, Call by the Grave, also there. And also Exo Sisters, 2 Magnifica, along with the good majority of the core, including some Grand Creator original Mikhails for the lineup, a Giant Hand, and even a Monstrous Revenge, Zeus, Secret Rare. And then playsets for all the Exo Sister cards. For a second, I misplaced the Spell lineup, which are also Grand Creator, Exo Sister, Ultras. I couldn't find where the entire spells were. I knew I put them down somewhere when I was organizing everything, so I only had the monsters right until up when I made this video. And then I found the pile over in a corner for where I put the spells for the Exo Sister cards. Another fun one that I'm definitely excited to do an updated deck profile for is the Dinos that I got here. These are the Ground Zeno Dinos, so they use the original Dino support. It's even got some super rare OTS pack 18 Baby Ceratosaurus is here, and also the structure deck Ultimate Conductor Tyrannos, and the newer Xeno Meteoruses, small scrap engine, along with the heavily sought after cards for the deck being the Ground Zenos, playset of those, some ultra rare Fossil Digs, and then also the Relentless Revenge Dragonic Diagram to use with the deck also. But I was definitely happy that the deck came included with the Ground Zenos. I haven't had a playset of ground Zenos ever, so being able to do a full deck profile with them will definitely be cool. Next up was, when I was getting the collection, I wasn't sure what this deck was, because he just showed me each deck that was included with the collection. I was wondering if this was a Neospatian deck or an Armed Dragon deck, and he assured that it was an Armed Dragon deck with the new Neo support, so having all the higher rarity Armed Dragon cards as well as the new promo cards or newer promo cards for the deck. And with the Neos package to use, it's also got the secret rare Blazing Vortex, Armed Dragon Flash, and some of the other cards from Blazing Vortex, along with the Neos fusion to be able to get out the Armed Neos in the deck, some polymerizations, and the needed White Veil for Armed Dragon, level 10 white also. Next up is Red Eyes. I thought the Quarter Century Secret Rare Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon was a very nice addition, as well as all the other extra deck cards, a Big Eye on top of the Red Eyes fusions, even a Dark Dragoon, and also a Relinquish Anima, and some other fusion monsters to go into. I actually do have the Red Eyes / Dragons myself. It's like the only Red Eyes card I have. So I was able to pick up the rest of the deck now and have the other fusion that I needed. Having the Blackstone of Legend, the Black Metal Dragons, Red Eyes, the alternatives, and even the new Black Meteor Dragon shows that it was relatively up to date. And even having some of the Season 1 Gear Free, the Red Eyes Iron Knight mixed in with the cards as well. I do like the Arcana Dark Magician as well. But basically a full Red Eyes deck with the added support mixed in for at least one of every card aside, like I said, from the Red Eyes / Dragon. I definitely do like the Flare Metal as well. And I think the Dragoon is from the 2020 Megatin also. But the next deck, this seems more like a generic zombie deck. It's got mostly the generic zombie synchros. I guess you could call it zombie synchro. Even has the Avendred Savior from Hero's Revenge, the Flames of Destruction Vampire Sucker, along with the more generic support, some of the Shiranui cards, and some of the other Zombie World support to use with the cards as well. But the Zombie Worlds are from Dual Overload, which is really nice, and then the Shiranui spell, along with some of the other generic zombie support. Like I said, I'm just excited to determine which decks I want to keep, which ones I want to update deck profiles with, which ones I do want to sell as well. Not sure yet, still going through all the collection, but next up we have Ninjas. So we have the Hanzos, the Golden Ninjas, the Mitsus, and all the other needed ninja monsters, I'd say, for a more up-to-date version. I do like these secret rare versions of the Hidden Villages, along with the ultra-rare Ninjutsu Notebook of Mysteries, and some of the other needed traps and spells for the ninjas. I do also like the secret rare Saizo for the deck, and Witchcrafters as well. I think there's a good majority of cards included here for them, even with some Magistus cards. We have the needed numbers, I would say, for the different Witchcrafter monsters that you want to run, along with the smaller Witchcrafter package lineup, even a Cartesia and Timaeus, with the secret rare versions for some of the Witchcrafter cards also, which I think is really, really awesome, rarity-wise. Having the Buy Streets and some of the other one-ofs that you want to run in the Witchcrafter deck. FAs, this is one of the decks I always forget about, FA Dawn Dragster being the only card I ever remember from this Synchro deck. I think if I had to pick between UAs and FAs, I'd always go for UAs, just find the Ultra Athletes to be a lot cooler of a deck, but still, FAs, do use some of that UA support mixed in with their deck, and still have a pretty fun play style, especially when you can combine the Link Monster with all the other different Synchros that you play also. So we're getting down to the final actual fuller decks. The rest of the cards I say after this deck will be mostly cores, but we do have a Generaider deck with a good variety of Xyz monsters, including the Jormungandrs, the Levitines, and also having some other mixed in cards like the Shadow of the Generaider bosses here, which I think is still a pretty pricey card for the deck. It's even got secret rare Mardell's Generaider Boss of Light from the Mystic Fighters, and some other secret rares mixed in as well. You don't run too many different ones, but also the Nightmare Incarnation Idli, the secret rare Generaider boss stages. I'm a very big fan of original cards for decks as well. If you can have the original versions for the deck, I think it makes it look all the cooler for sure. All right, the ones we have now are the cores, and one I definitely want to do an update for. It's a core, but I can still, pick up a good majority of the needed ritual support for it, and that is Nephtys, having the Ceruleans and the Devotees. It's been a while since I've done an update to the Nephtys deck, so now that I have a good majority of the cards needed for the deck, I am definitely excited to build an update for this deck for sure. And also, there's a small Marincess core as well. I saw we got the new Trickstar monster. That also counts as half of a Marincess also, so it could definitely be used in Marincess. Sadly, no Marincess dives with the core, but like I said, it is a core. It does have a good majority of the extra deck monsters, including some blue slugs, and even this original blue tang also. And we've got 6 more left, Lavals. I actually just put together a Laval deck, but still, here's another small core if I were ever to rebuild it. I do like the dual terminal Lakeside Ladies. I don't even have Lakeside Ladies. I don't believe I don't have Lakeside Ladies for my own Laval deck that are in DT, so I'll have to double check and definitely add those to that version of the deck. Another one that gets forgotten, just like the FAs for me, and that's the Dual Avatar deck. Just having the 2 monsters, then all the many different fusion monsters initially for the deck, but still very, very cool. Having the Secret Rare Dual Avatar Invitations, the Perfect Syncs, and also just the extra deck monsters as well. Were any of them a secret? I think they were just Ultras and Supers, but still, looks like we have all the fusions needed for the Dual Avatar deck. And I believe the Super Heavies just have the Shinawos and the Scarecrows, which are sadly still banned, a bunch of Soul Piercers, and I believe we do have some of the new Pendulums, which are good, because it's always nice to have at least a playset of Okashis, because you can use them as engines in other decks as well, but mostly just the newer cards for the Super Heavy Samurai deck. Small Ogdoadic engine as well with the Overlord and most of the needed main deck monsters for the lineup, as well as some other generic reptile cards for it. And for our final 2, we have the Metaphys deck. So we have the Ragnaroks, the Nephtys, the Tyrant Dragons, and the very important Acid Metaphys for the continuous spells that you run in the deck as well, with the final deck being or at least the core being the Nordics, which having the Secret Odin is definitely cool, along with some of the other needed support, even some of the newer cards for the deck. But like I said, the last couple were just cores, but still some pretty awesome ones at that. But definitely excited to see which decks I want to keep from the entire collection and see what I can make do with all the other ones and see what I end up doing with them, if I make them trade bait or just hold on to them for potential future updates. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.